So I think maybe what we should do is start by talking to our two marketers. We heard from Babs about why, when he was at Unilever, this was a thing that started to really matter for him, and it crystallized at IBM. What got us here for you guys? What have you been dealing with as marketers, particularly in the digital ecosystem, for the last 10 years? Maybe we'll start, Rob, with you, because you really were the first with this.
So I think as we look back over the last couple of years, I think the promise of digital remains unbelievable and a phenomenal opportunity. But I think as we began to dig into it the last couple of years, we began to see that there's a lot of darkness and the lack of transparency and accountability. And so whether it be how we target our consumers, are we serving to actually human beings and not bots? Are people actually able to see our advertising? These are some of the, I think, fundamental issues that had begun to surface. And so over the last couple of years, we focused on really cleaning that up with our agency and Mindshare and across industry forums. And I think we made a lot of progress, still more progress to be made, but we saw certainly this MVP with IBM and the promise of blockchain to actually really, at an exponential pace, scale the opportunity to really clean things up and provide like a much cleaner digital ecosystem.
And Josh, for you?
Sure. In one sense, this shouldn't be a surprise or really a complicated question, because, of course, in order to make a rational business decision, you need to have comfort and confidence and transparency about the numbers that you're talking about and making those decisions. And to your point, there's been a little opacity as the industry matured and grew up for all
you're being kind.
Logical reasons. As the CMO has to traipse across the Lumascape to try and figure out how to put the Lego blocks together, you can only have complexity as a result. But that doesn't take away from the fundamental need of making business decisions with defensible, confident numbers. And so it's just a logical progression, I think, from our point of view. It's certainly a problem we're solving, but I think the effect of solving it will really be a positive for everyone participating. Not only do we have so many different zodiac signs up here, but all the voices of the value chain are participating in this program, and that's why I think IBM's done such a great job with, is to make certain that all the voices are sitting around the table, and that way we'll be certain to solve from the business problem first and then work to the engineering towards the solution.
Well, it's interesting. Forrester put fraud and non-viewable impression wastage at 7.4 billion in 2016, which is just unbelievable, right? And projected to rise. Yep. So this is the moment, I hope, right? And part of it, I think, is that you as advertisers are really truly leaning in a way that I don't think has traditionally been the case. Was it because you didn't know what was happening? Was it because you were sort of waking up to wanting ownership of your data and the consumer experience? Was it just a maturity of an ecosystem? Either of you would be great.
Okay. So I like to think of it as very consistent with Casey's heritage. Okay. As a company that's 145 years old, you only have the right to survive or thrive if you either invent transformational technology or identify transformational technology that will allow you to continue evolving. And so blockchain is one of those transformational technologies, and this particular use case is meaningful because, of course, there's billions of dollars flowing here. But the use cases for a manufacturer also, of course, extend beyond just the supply chain of digital media into the traditional supply chain of material. So I think we have a really good heritage of innovation in science and technology. When you do something at scale like we're striving to do here, it really does require creativity and incredible engineering and science to get it right.
Was it cultural for Unilever too, Rob?
Yeah, no, very much so. I think, I would say all the above to your question. I mean, all those things I think contributed to us really focusing on this. And the other part, of course, is the consumer itself, which sometimes gets lost in all the kind of digital ecosystem and buzzwords that we throw around. And I think just having a safe, clean, transparent way to operate on the web is such a huge benefit to the consumer, and just it empowers platforms, advertisers, publishers, I think, to have just a much healthier place for consumers to go and feel safe and in an environment that they can engage. And I think that was ultimately, I think, the cornerstone of all this. as well as making sure kind of we get what we pay for, we're connecting with consumers in the right way with a relevant message, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, I think of it as 3 legs of a stool, where leg 1 is the publisher, leg 2 is the advertiser or marketer, leg 3 is the consumer, and it's sitting on a base of technology. And I think we maybe have gotten to a place where the technology is sitting on top for a while there in the digital ecosystem, rather than playing a support role. So Bill, for you, I mean, if you think about this innovation, who is it disrupting?
Well, to start, this blockchain solution isn't just, we focus a lot on digital and within digital programmatic, because the ANA and Mark Pritchard has talked a lot about, for every dollar they spend, 60 cents is going to tax. So we focus in on that. This blockchain solution is actually going to be across all media. So TV, print, radio, out of home, all forms of digital. Why that's important is because all media eventually is going to be connected through an IP address. So the plumbing for linear or traditional media is going to look more like digital. And if it does, it's not sustainable. So when you think about buying linear television, you have basically a login to Mediaocean and a Nielsen account, and that's your supply chain, right?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, and the other part is people love to bash Nielsen, but Nielsen has created a currency by which everyone in the ecosystem agrees to. And that has created a massive efficiency for the TV marketplace, which continues to be the most efficient media out there. So we're solving for the fact that it's all going to move to digital, and it's not sustainable having the supply chain in digital and programmatic for all media. So we think that that's why this solution isn't really, it's not a Mediaocean solution or an IBM solution, it's an industry solution that we all need to prosper, or else no more can.
So.
And
sorry,
that would be a shame.
That just washed over me. What did he say? That's what I thought he said. So maybe then, Babs, for you, I think one of the things that was attractive about Mediaocean, according to you, is connectivity to the industry. But why should anyone choose to participate? If I'm an ad tech company, I suppose I have no choice because my marketer is telling me so. But why?
I think ad tech companies, for the most part, believe they add a lot of value, and I think many of them do. I mean. Yeah. Look, the reason there's so many middle players is because they came in to solve a different issue that was happening to them, whether that was to show viewability, whether that was to show human versus bot traffic. Those companies were necessary at the time. The problem is, with so many and so much money going to the various companies, you now have a situation where marketers are paying more in quote-unquote tax or production than they are in working media, which is never something that marketers want to do. In fact, they'd prefer that the vast majority of money they put in eventually reaches the publisher, which means reaching the consumer. So I think the ad tech players believe that they serve great value. The great thing about what blockchain will do and what transparency provides is you can figure out who the good guys are and you can figure out who the bad guys are. And that's what we're doing is setting up, and to Bill's point, is setting up the infrastructure, kind of the underlying technology to be able to allow everyone to know what's going on. And that's, in the short term, that might be, some of the ad tech players now. But in the long term, first of all, it's all media, and eventually all media will be digital. But second of all, there's always going to be new issues that arise. With transparency, now we will catch those issues as they arise or shortly thereafter, versus, for years, marketers were spending a ton of money in digital, where half of the impressions were bots, right? Some people didn't want to believe it. Some people were like, it's a small percentage. But bottom line is, it got worse and worse and worse because there was no transparency. Nobody could really believe what was true and what wasn't. The thing about this is, when you have a universal view of the truth and total transparency, you can start to make the right decisions.
Who owns the truth? Everybody?
The truth is the truth. I mean, if you can get to the truth, then smart people will make good decisions based on right information. When you're making decisions based on information you're not sure is true or not, we can say a lot about that.
But that's why I think this is really valuable for the ad tech community, because one of the other side of the coin of not having confidence is inertia. And that once I get to something that I have some reasonable set of confidence about, then I sort of stick with it, and then risk aversion sets in. And so I'm not really willing to try the next thing. And the next thing might be really important and really valuable, but I have inertia and risk aversion to overcome. With confidence coming out of the chute, because we have reconciliation through blockchain, this should make me more agile, more confident to try the next new thing. So I think that's really going to be an operational benefit to us and the whole ad tech community.
also.
Exactly.